Blood on white satin. Camera flashes. Everyone's smiling except me. I'm kneeling on the boutique floor, palm clamped to my thigh, warm red leaking through a hem I never asked to touch. Ava, my sister, America's favorite suburban angel influencer, tilts her head, all pity and pearls. You're so dramatic, Lily. It's just a pin. It wasn't. The seamstress dug out a razor-thin shard of glass from inside the lining. Not a pin, a trap. The bridesmaids laughed like wind chimes. The manager comped champagne. Mom scolded me for ruining a special day. Ava posted a boomerang of her twirling. Caption: when everything finally fits. Hashtag Mercer wedding, hashtag TrueLove, hashtag blessed. Outside in December air, my phone buzzed. You've been removed from the wedding website. Ava had unsistered me from everything. The seating chart, the rehearsal dinner, the photo list. She didn't even text me. It was just, click, gone. Another notification appeared. Unknown sender. A bluebird icon. Check the shared folder before you bleed again. Bluebird agent, glassy storefronts and twinkle lights. I opened Drive. Invoices for a $100,000 vineyard blowout. NDAs signed by vendors. And a line of payments from a nonprofit account, the Brighter Tomorrow Kids Fund. Ava had emceed that gala last month, crying on stage while collecting donations for wheelchairs. My breath knotted. The transfer memos said event coordination. Expenses, except the charges were 4 hand-blown crystal chargers and a bespoke violinist who cries on cue. The charity's money was paying for Cole Mercer's wedding. Cole, the startup prince with a grin on Forbes and a prenup rumored to be ironclad. I limped home, hemline pink and sticky, mind racing. Bluebird pinged again. She hid worse. Check the subfolder, vows. Inside, Ava's text to the seamstress. I need her to stumble for the camera. A little blood never hurt a redemption arc. My jaw turned to stone. Mom called. She sounded tired and proud all at once. We're moving you to a back pew so you won't distract. I stared at the phone until the screen dimmed and my reflection looked like a ghost. I wasn't the distraction. I was the disposal bin. Bluebird, if you want the truth, meet me tomorrow. A.M. Calf Finch. Back booth. I typed one word. Why? 3 dots. Then, because she did it to me first, and the screen went black, Calf Finch smelled like burnt sugar and secrets. A bell chimed as I limped in. Back booth. A woman in a neat black blazer, hair pulled tight, eyes red-rimmed but steady. Renee, she said, extending a hand. Ava's wedding planner. Bluebird. She slid me a thin drive. Make copies. Multiple. Cloud. Hardware. Legal. She's not careful. She's cruel. Renee's fingers trembled, then locked. She wasn't always like that. But your father's trust changed everything. I plugged the drive into my laptop. My stomach dropped. Emails, Ava and a pop-up PR firm coordinating charitable optics, diverting donations through a Shell LLC, bouncing funds to event essentials, Cole's assistant asking for receipts, Ava responding with photoshopped invoices and angel emojis, screenshots of Ava's DMs to a high school friend. Once I marry Mercer, I'm untouchable. Watch me. I scrolled to a subfolder, floral emergency, video, the boutique, a different angle. The seamstress opening a plastic pouch and sliding glass into the dress lining. Ava off camera. Just a little drama. Viral, if we do it right. My throat burned. Why me? Because you ruin her narration, Renee said. You knew her before the ring light. She can't control you. I opened a contract. A clause circled in red. If a public scandal taints the Mercer image before legal vows, the prenup voids and the wedding vendor escrow returns to the Mercer estate. Translation: if the truth hits before I do, Ava loses the money and the man. Renee leaned in. She's already filing a restraining order. Claims you obsessively sabotage. If security keeps you out, there's no risk of you detonating anything. Then why help me? She swallowed. Because a year ago, she hired me for a different wedding. Same lies, same charity pipeline. When I pushed back, I lost my business and my fianc in a week. Smear campaign, lawsuit threats. Her voice softened. And because of the thing in the folder called Jade, I clicked. My ex-best friend Jade. A message from Ava. Frame Lily for the grad school honor code report. I'll pay your loans. Attached. The complaint that got me expelled for cheating. The thing I never recovered from. Across the calf, a cop walked in, scanned the room, and paused on us. My phone lit. Unknown. Step outside alone. Then a second later, from Bluebird, don't. The cop turned, speaking into his radio fast. Then he walked toward our booth. Lily Hart? The officer asked. People stared. The barista froze mid-pour. Yes. My voice wobbled. Need you to come with me. He held out a folded paper. Temporary restraining order. Ava had filed it that morning. Renee's nails dug crescents into her palm. This is harassment. The officer was flat. Practiced. A judge signed it. Weddings in 48 hours. You step inside 100 feet of that venue, you're in cuffs. I signed for the paper, hands shaking. Outside, the winter sun flashed off windshields like 100 little lies. Renee hissed under her breath. She moved faster than I thought. Then we move faster, I said. We don't need the venue. We need the truth to hit before vows. Publicly, permanently. I called the charity's general number. Voicemail maze. I emailed the state attorney general's office with a subject line that tasted like battery acid. Urgent. Evidence of nonprofit fraud tied to high-profile wedding. Attach, attach, attach. Harper answered on the second ring. Cole's little sister. We'd traded maybe 5 sentences at Thanksgiving. Hey, it's Lily. I need to talk to you. Privately. A beat then. If this is about the prenup, don't. Cole's blind but not stupid. No, I said. It's about felony stupid. We met in a parking garage. Her car smelled like eucalyptus and fear. I showed her the folder. She didn't cry. She didn't gasp. She went very still. Cole loses control of his shares if there's a scandal after the ceremony, she said slowly. But if it's before, he keeps the company. My brother built that thing in a dorm. Ava wants the ring more than the man. Wind screamed through the concrete. Harper looked at me. If you go near the wedding, she wins. If I go near it, I'm family. You'll help? Harper clicked her tongue. I'll plug you into the AV system from offsite. That night, my apartment door stood ajar when I got home. Inside, neat, quiet, wrong. On my kitchen counter, my wedding invite lay slit open, a red ribbon tied through it. No note, just the symbol of a throat. I called 911. While I waited, my laptop chimed. A scheduled post appeared in my drafts queue from my account. A confession written in my voice, admitting to hacking the charity and stalking Ava, time-stamped to go live at 4:00 p.m. on the wedding day. She wasn't just protecting her story. She was erasing mine. I stared at the cursor, blinking like a metronome counting down. Then I opened a new tab labeled Plan B. Napa Valley wore winter like velvet. Rows of vines, a sky that pretended it didn't know what storms were, and a glass pavilion glowing like a jewelry box. Security at the gate scanned QR codes and smiles. My restraining order burned a hole in my pocket like shame. I wasn't there. Not exactly. Harper was. So was Renee. I sat 3 counties away, laptop on a stack of legal pads, phone plugged in, a police report number open on one screen and the attorney general's auto reply on the other. A timer pulsed. 3:58 p.m. Harper's text. We're seated. AV Tech is a kid with a ring light obsession. I told him he could DJ my podcast if he gave me admin. Renee's DM, a floor plan, the timing cues, the MC script. Bride enters at 4:07 to violinist. Vows 4:15. My drive, preloaded with a simple sequence labeled love story. The first 30 seconds were exactly that: Ava and Cole on beaches, puppies, sunsets. Then the splice, the invoices, the memos, the boutique video, the bank transfers. The darkest confession of all, a voice memo labeled Practice Vows, Keep This Private, where Ava rehearsed, promising to serve our community while texting, make sure the kids' wheelchairs get delivered after the honeymoon so press doesn't get messy. 3:59 p.m. Ava floated in like a prayer someone wrote to themselves. Cole looked reverent enough to be useful. Mom glowed like a pageant stage. The guests hummed with expensive anticipation. 4:03. I hovered my cursor over a single button. Start. My building's fire alarm shrieked. I jumped, heart in my throat. Smoke? No, my phone dinged. Unknown login attempt to your bank account. Another ding. Password reset, code requested for your email. My hands moved on instinct. 2-factor. Lockdown. The draft confession in my queue shifted from scheduled to publishing. My stomach flipped. Harper texted a single emoji, a thumb pointed down. The queue. I clicked. The pavilion screens bloomed. Surf and sunsets. Then receipts. The boutique video. Ava's laugh cold, off camera. A hush fell over the room. so heavy it bent the air. The violinist stopped mid-sob. Cole's face drained until all that was left was bone and disbelief. A guest stood. Another swore. Someone screamed, "Turn it off." And the AV kid froze. Ava didn't scream. She pivoted. Eyes found the nearest camera. Smile sharpened. She leaned toward the mic. "My sister is mentally ill," my phone buzzed. "Unknown number. Check your front door, Lily." Then sirens swelled in two directions, one in Napa, one outside my building. Two cops stepped out of the elevator at my end of the hallway. Same time, two uniformed deputies moved through the vineyard crowd in Napa. The timing felt choreographed by a god with a grudge. My door rattled, neighbors peeking out, whispers like moths. I held the restraining order in one hand, my ID in the other. "I'm Lily Hart," I said when they reached me. "There's been a break-in." Also, my phone flashed. "Your scheduled post is live." The fake confession went up. Across the state, Harper kept filming. Cole's lawyers materialized from shadows. Renee stood with the charity's board chair, whom she'd found in the guest list and quietly invited an hour earlier. The chairwoman's face was thunder. "Mr. Mercer," she said into a dead microphone that suddenly wasn't. "This wedding is financed by stolen wheelchairs." Ava laughed. "Defamation." The chairwoman held up a stamped PDF. "Subpoena." The deputies turned. "Ava Hart?" Her smile cracked for the first time. Back in my hallway, the officers asked me to step aside. They'd received an anonymous tip that I was destroying evidence. I nodded to my laptop. "Then watch me preserve it." I hit send on an encrypted bundle addressed to 3 recipients: the Attorney General Task Force, the IRS Criminal Investigations Unit, and this was the meanest part, Cole's grandmother, who ran a church pantry and believed God watched the receipts. I opened my banking app. Clean. My email. Ray secured. The fake confession? Already countered. Because Plan B wasn't screens. It was a timer inside the wedding website I'd built months ago when I still thought sister meant safety. One click at 4:00 p.m. hadn't just swapped the slideshow. It had triggered a notarized "in case of dispute" packet I'd quietly set up back when Ava first tried to cut me from the story. The packet verified sources, timestamps, and chain of custody, and auto-forwarded to every party with jurisdiction. The moment my draft confession published, a second script published its rebuttal with files signed by a third-party archivist. Ava hadn't framed me. She'd signed the frame. In Napa, Cole took the mic. He didn't rage. He read the prenup clause out loud, voice steady. "In the event of fraud discovered before vows, the wedding escrow returns to the Mercer family and the ceremony is void." He looked at Ava like she was an equation with no solution. "There will be no vows." Ava lunged. At the deputies. At the chairwoman. At anyone. Renee stepped between them, spine straight, career already ruined once and resurrected in the space of 9 minutes. The cuffs clicked. Sirens outside my building faded. The officers at my door glanced at their radios, then at me. "You might want to come down and give a statement," one said. "About the break-in." "I will," I said. But first, I opened a notification from Harper, a live photo. The pavilion emptying, white flowers crushed under expensive shoes, a 6-figure fantasy leaking out onto the lawn. Cole stood with his grandmother, shoulders shaking in a way that looked like relief. Mom texted me, "We need to talk." I typed back, "We will, but not today." I looked around my quiet apartment, the ribbon on my counter like a trophy from a war I hadn't chosen. One click had ended a wedding, yes, but it had also opened a door I'd been banging on for years. The truth walked through, and it stayed.